This is going on page 29. So we can have systems with 4 variables, 5 variables. However many variables you have, that's how many equations you have to have. So we're going to look at it doing it this way with substitution and elimination, and then we will also eventually get into matrices. So when you have 3 equations, here are our steps. Okay, so here's 3. We'll kind of use this as a little model here. You choose 2, and then you eliminate a variable. Okay, so we choose to eliminate a variable. Then you eliminate the same variable from a combination of the equation you didn't use and one of the ones you did. So basically, I don't want to get 2 equations, eliminate x, different 2 equations, eliminate y. That's not going to help me. So it kind of helps if you call them equation A and B or whatever you want to call them. But it's also good before you start to make sure that you are picking something that would make sense. Because if I look at, so let's say that I'm looking at this and I think, okay, you know what? I see this 2z and 8z, so I could easily multiply this one by 4. I think I'll eliminate z, which is fine. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. But then when you look at number 1 and that has a 9z, that doesn't really work easily with the other 2, right? So you kind of want to find something that would make things maybe a little bit easier. So if I looked at y, I've got a negative 6y and a y. So I think I could combine these 2 together and make that like set A. And then I could do the third one and the first one, but the y and the y kind of look nice, so I'm going to use that for set B. It's helpful if you make that decision before you start and know that we're going to start by eliminating y. Okay, does that make sense? So we're going to come over here, and we're going to say this is set A. Boom. And we're going to take these 2 equations, right? So I've got 2x minus 6y plus 9z equals negative 8, and 5x plus y plus 2z equals 10. Right? And then we want to multiply which equation? The second one by what? 6. Okay, so I'm going to multiply this one by 6. So when I do that, I will get, I guess I'll do it here, 2x minus 6y plus 9z equals negative 8. And then when I multiply through, and a positive 6 is fine because that'll work out nicely. I'm going to get 30x minus 6y plus 12z equals 60. Plus 6y, yes, isn't that what I said? I'm just kidding. Yeah, you're right, plus 6y. Make sure everything else is correct. We all good on that? So then I combine them, right? And these zero out. That's why I did it. That's going to leave me with 32x plus 21z equals 52. You agree with that? Okay. Any questions at this point? So then we pause on that one. And then we go over and we do set B. Okay, I had already decided on those 2, so I don't have to do anything weird here. And if you want, I mean, over here, I can, instead of rewriting it twice, which one you want to multiply by the negative, the top or the first one or the second one? If you do the second one, you get rid of those negatives, right? Would that maybe be better? I mean, it doesn't matter. But so I'm just going to go ahead and rewrite the first one, 5x plus y plus 2z equals 10. Now, I know y'all don't like to write and rewrite and rewrite. So if I come over here and just say, all right, I'm going to take this and I'm going to multiply it through by a negative 1 and then do that as you write it, that's okay too, so you're not having to double write. But again, sometimes it's better to be safe. So this is going to give me negative 3x minus y plus 8z equals 28. And then I'm going to combine them. These zero out. That's why I did it. Notice I wanted to knock out the y's in both of them. I do that. This is going to give me 2x plus 10z equals 38. All right. So now I have 2 equations, and two variables, right? And I can use these two here as a system of two equations with two variables. And I can either eliminate x or y. I'm sorry, x or z. I already did y. You could do substitution, but doesn't elimination make more sense here? Okay. So what do you want to multiply by in which equation? So I'm using these two. Which variable would be easiest to eliminate here? X. And it is kind of a matter of opinion what's the easiest, but I would choose X. I mean, again, you don't have to. So I would choose X, and that means I'd multiply that one by a negative 16. Would you agree with that? So I'm going to rewrite this one. Well, I guess I could leave it there, but I'm going to rewrite it so we don't lose anybody. 32x plus 21z equals 52. Right? And then I'm just going to put over here, all right, I'm going to multiply this by a negative 16. So negative 16 times 2x is a negative 32x. Then that would be minus 160z equals a negative something. And I pulled up my calculator so we could do this. But as soon as I do this, I forget what I'm multiplying by. Negative 16 times what? 38? Wait. Yeah, 38. Okay. And I get a negative 608. Negative 608. These zero out. This would be negative 139z, I believe. Stop me if I'm wrong. I don't even know if I have. Y'all agree with that? 160 minus 21? When y'all are quiet, it scares me because, yeah, 139. Shouldn't make him checking my math here. And then I have negative 52. I'm sorry, I have 52 minus 608. And that gives me negative 556. And with this, you would definitely be able to use a calculator. So then I'm going to divide it. You get 4. Thank you. So we get that z equals 4. Now that I have this, I need to substitute it back into one of these two. I don't want to substitute it into the original one because it'll give me other things. I would think this one, this pink one right here, might be a little bit easier, right? So that's why you want to be able to find your stuff as you go through. So this will give me 2x plus 10 times 4 equals 38. So 2x, so that's going to be 40, and when I subtract it over, I get a negative 2. So x equals negative 1. Even with those big old numbers, that's what I get for x and z. Then I substitute both of these back into one of these, but it doesn't matter which one. Do y'all want to do 1, 2, or 3? 1? Okay, so we're going to get 2 times negative 1 minus 6y plus 9 times 4 equals negative 8. So this gives me negative 2 minus 6y plus 36 is negative 8. And we're not going to do number 2, so if you need to go into, I should have already said that. If you're in another room, you can go into the space of the second one. Negative 6y plus 34 equals negative 8. Negative 6y equals negative 42. So y equals what? 7. Do you see how it's kind of the same process? It just takes longer because you got to do it multiple times. Okay, we okay with that? So here's what I want to do on some of those on the back, because we're not going to work every single one of these. I don't think that it's necessary. But I do want to talk about how we might pair up the equations, because if we can't make good decisions there, then we just make this very difficult on ourselves. Even when you have a calculator, if the numbers get too big, you have to type all that stuff in and things get a little weird. Okay, but any questions at this point? All right, so let's just look at number 3. So I want you to look at it for a minute. Decide what variable you would start with to eliminate, and how you would pair your equations up. Do you understand what I'm asking you to do? Okay, and you can talk about it with each other if you want. You don't all have to agree. And we'll call these like 1, 2, and 3, just so we can. You have a question for me? Okay. Where did I lose you? So these two equations that we wrote down are just these two right here. And then we're just doing elimination like we did before. I'm multiplying through by a 6 so that I can make that 6y so that I can eliminate it. Okay, so then I end up with an equation with 2 variables. Yeah, and then we're just trying to reduce as we go. And then I have to do 2 other equations to get that down to 2 variables and go from there. Okay. And then once we have 2 with 2, we do like plain old elimination like you've been doing, so you can get 1, and then you just got to start substituting them back in. Okay, we'll do another one. No, because you pick whatever variable you want, but it has to be the same variable both times. Yes, so for your A set and B set, like, because look, right here, okay, guys, look, let's make sure everybody's on the same page here. When we picked A and B, notice I picked them because I eliminated y in both of them. It doesn't always have to be y, but it needs to be the same variable in both. Otherwise, I'm going to have 2 equations but 3 variables. Does that make sense? So if I look this, somebody, because there's different things, because I already heard somebody talking and saying something other than where my brain went, which, again, it's all just a matter of how you look at it and what makes the most sense to you. But, Patrick, tell me, what would you make A? Okay. So 1 and 3 would be A, and then what would you do for B? 2 and 3? And what variable are you eliminating? Y? Okay. Do y'all see how that could work? Did anybody have anything different than that? Nobody? That's what y'all did? Did you pick Y just because I had used Y before? I'm just curious. Okay. Let me tell you what and again, I'm not saying mine's better. I'm just saying when I looked at this, I thought, all right, well, I could do 1 and 2 and make that A, and 2 and 3 and make that B, and then I could eliminate Z with that, because I could multiply this by an 8 for these two and this by a 4 for these two, right? And that works either way, right? There's multiple ways to do it, but the rest of you all did this, or nobody wants to talk to me? Thank you for talking. Okay. Okay, so you did Y also, but you did with A and B, or different A and B. Okay, perfect. All right, any questions? All right, but remember, we're looking for the same variable. So let's do, let me see which one doesn't have the craziest numbers. Actually, we'll probably do 4 together, just that way we have extra room if we need to write. So figure out how you want to pair these up. See what we think here. Figure out what you want your A and B to be, and I'll do whatever y'all come up with. It's fine with me. But I need somebody with a calculator to help me with the numbers so I don't have to flip back and forth to my calculator. All right. Anybody want to give me a suggestion here? How to pair these up? 1 and 3. And what are, okay, 1 and 3 for A. And what? And what? 2 and 3 for B. And what are we solving for? I'm sorry, what are we trying to eliminate is what? X? Okay. And we're going to get rid of X. Everybody okay with that? Now, if you're comfortable with this, because I know for some of you this is not brand new, for some of you it may not be, but it's still a little, if you want to, and if you paired yours up differently and you want to do it differently, you want to just do it, knock yourself out. For those of you that need me to walk you through it again, I'll walk you through it again. Why what? What was his question? The same variable in each one, yes. Otherwise, you end up with 2 variables, but when they're different, you technically have 3 in your 2 equations. Yeah, that's why we were doing this again. You have to make sure you're trying to decide the same variable. And it does not matter which one you start with, but since they're brave enough to talk this their way, if you want to work through it on your own, that's good, but I think some of you need to have it stepped through again. All right, so we're going to start with A. And so since we're eliminating X, were you going to multiply the first equation? What would I multiply the first equation by? -2. Okay, so I'm going to do that as I write it. That'll give me -2x plus 10y minus 6z equals -78. Okay, oh, and this is my A. So that's equation 1. And then I'm going to pair that with equation 3. So that gives me 2x minus, and I'm just rewriting this one. Okay. Any questions about where anything came from at this point? All right, so now we combine them, and these zero out. That's what we wanted. This gives me 4y minus 11z equals -107. Okay. So now, once you do that, then you need to remind yourself, I just got rid of x. So whatever I do next, I got to get rid of x. And then we decided we were going to use these two. So then this means I'm going to have to multiply both of my equations, right? Which one do you want to make negative, 2 or 3? 3? Okay. So that means I'm going to multiply 2 by 2 and 3 by a -3. And if you want to write that out separately, you can, or you can make your notes up there. Just make sure you're actually distributing when you bring it over. So give you 6x plus 16y minus z equals -38. And then -6x plus 18y. What did I do wrong? Dang it. And I literally just said, make sure you bring it all over. And thank you for paying attention. Because those are the kind of mistakes that happen, right? I mean, they're so easy to do. Okay. 18y plus 15z equals 3 times 29. That's going to be 678. Positive 78? Somebody? Anybody? Just double check me. I'm pretty sure I'm right. But I couldn't even write it correctly, so I don't know if I trust myself. So what 3 times 29 is? 78? Yes? Okay. All right. Then wait. No, it's got to be 88, right? 3 times 29. It's 88, not 78, right? Oh my God. This is why y'all are supposed to be checking me. Now y'all really going to check me. I'm just going to make up numbers. Good Lord. That's what I get for trying to do it in my head. Oh, it's because I couldn't when I was doing 3 times 9 in my head, I was doing 18, which is not right. Whew, my goodness. I know, y'all are going to lose all faith in me eventually. All right, so those zero out. This is going to give me 34y, I'm pretty sure, but, I'm writing y. Plus 13z equals 49, maybe? Question?